Hey guys, EpicEpics here, coming at you guys with the weekly replay analysis. This week we have a little something different from the usual pushing lineup that you've been seeing lately. And Kai's on Skype with me, but I'm just gonna start this off. So first of all, they had the first pick and the first ban. They went ahead, got rid of the Caudle first ban. We got rid of the NA. Then they got rid of the DS. So at this point, we could let through Batrider or Magnus. We decided, you know what, give them the Meg. So we banned the Batrider, and playing right into our hand, they pick up the Magnus. And right away, we pick up the Gyro, just, because he's such a strong and versatile hero. And he's usually a good hero to pick up early because he could go off lane, safe lane, and even mid lane. So very, does not give away your lanes, keeps your team flexible with the picks. And also, because we gave away the Meg, obviously we picked up the Rubik to steal that RP. They went ahead with the Lina and the Lifestealer for that extra burst kind of abilities. Lifestealer, very strong carry against the Gyro because, Gyro's afraid of really bursty heroes because his main survivability will come from his BKB, and Lifestealer's physical damage goes through all of that. Then during the banning phase, we banned out the Syllabear, the Twin-Headed Dragon, and the Weaver. They banned out the Windrunner, the Clockwork, and the Puck. I think at this point they were afraid that of those long-range initiations and those sort of heroes that can ninja the Lifestealer and kind of gank him off. Both Clock and the Puck has that ability, and the Windrunner Shackle is just really hard to deal with. We banned out the Syllabear simply because we didn't want the Syllabear Magnus Lifestealer combination. That would give them too much high ground potential. With just the Lina, Lifestealer, and Magnus, it's hard for them to go up high ground right now. But with a bear, that would just completely turn that around. With the Jakiro, it's just a very stable sort of hero that's very tanky, very good support. And the Weaver is just a very elusive hero that it's hard for Gyro to deal with. Then on our pick, we went with the Juggernaut. Just because we were trying to try something new. We thought that we've been seeing Juggernaut a lot in the new meta, and we thought Jug might be a good way to handle the Lifestealer, and you guys will see how that plays out. But basically we're theory crafting here, and we decided to pick that up. They went ahead, picked up the Bane, thinking that Bane can really shut down the Gyro again, because of if he was the solo carry, then his only disable, like what I said, his only survivability would come from a BKB. So they went ahead with the Bane. Sorry, they picked up the Bane first, and then we picked up the Jug. And then the last pick was Templar Assassin, and just a very strong mid, because there are not a lot of mids left, and Templar Assassin works really well with the Lifestealer. And if I continue with this, you guys will see that our last pick is the Queen of Pain. Kai, what did you think of the pick and bans? What were some of the key points?
Well, I guess the initial banning phase was just your typical meta game, banning the top tier heroes, and then followed by picking up the strongest heroes in the current meta that make it through the ban phase with your standard Gyro and Magnus picks. And then yeah, it's all pretty much typical top tier heroes right now. And then come the second phase, we banned out possible high ground heroes and just really strong solo heroes, because when we look at their last pick, the TA, that gives away their lanes, of the Magnus being the other solo, and we have a Gyro and we have yet to pick our last solo, and it's safe to say that we'll pretty much win at least one of the two lanes. Whoever matches up against Magnus will win that lane for sure, and we just have to pretty much roam and keep the TA down, as you'll see later.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what you mentioned about the very popular heroes in the current meta is true. We were messing around earlier that night with weird picks that we saw in tournaments like Lycan. Didn't work out too well for us, and so we opted for that first pick, Gyro, something pretty stable that's been proven to be very successful. And we knew they would take Magnus first pick as well, because Magnus has just been a huge powerhouse in tournaments. His RP has been, you know, just infallible. And but you know, we also knew that if they first picked it, we would be able to pick up that Rubik to counter it. So that's it for the pick and ban. Action starts right off the bat in this game, right before the creep spawn. What you never want to do is go ward by yourself, and here you guys will see the consequence of it. Although they were going for a defensive tri-lane, the three of them did not group up. He walked in way too early, got disrupted into a spinning jug, picked off right away, and that's it for the Bane. So, you know, when you guys, if you guys know that you guys will not 5-man into the jungle, as you guys will see in our other analysis, that if we were gonna go in the jungle to ward, we would always 5-man, because in case of an engagement like this, you guys will not lose out and give away the first blood like what happened with this Bane player. Although he doesn't lose any gold, I, as the Juggernaut, actually pick up the first blood, and that's huge for me. You know, that's a poor man's shield right there to start off the lane. 6 extra damage. Usually in a jug, in a pro game, they would be pooled his regeneration, so they would start with the poor man and the branches. I didn't get pooled this game, and I still have Tangle, Salve, branches, 3 branches, and a poor man. And you guys see, we have a 1 creep experience advantage as well. So Kai, you know, some words of wisdom for our viewers. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention something before, actually. This ward right here actually did not block off their neutral camp. That's a misplay. If you guys are playing, know that you have to ward a bit to the left somewhere here to actually make it effective. This is a very safe spot, but sentries like this will spot it out. We had that one game where it was really hard for us to spot it out. I believe it was 2 weekly analysis back with Eternal Envy carrying us. Was it, Kai? Where they plucked a ward, I think, here, and you guys tried to destroy the trees in this area, failed to do so, and actually wasted a lot of time. But here, trying to follow the same thing, I guess we didn't really do as well. But yeah, Kai, what do you think in our lanes, you know? It's pretty generic. It's tri-lane versus tri-lane on the bottom. Mid lane is TA versus the Quap, and top lane is the Gyro versus the Meg.
We pretty much scouted the lanes and got the matchups we wanted, and even got a kill out of it, so we were off to a really good start. I think for you new viewers or players is when you're going to scout ahead of time, make sure you're with your team and make sure you don't come in like the way he did. Like, he couldn't see around that bend of trees. Like, if he walked straight up and over, he would be able to see farther into the lane, and he would be able to see ahead of time like what he was running into. And because of like the way he walked, it was like fog and then suddenly 5 heroes, and then that's...
It's true. And yeah, with somebody who can hold the hero like disrupt, like the Shadow Demon's disrupt skill, it's very easy for the rest of the team to follow up and just completely dominate you. And just want to talk about the lanes quickly. So, you know, we have the TA mid versus the Queen of Pain. That's a pretty even matchup, usually, with the Queen of Pain maybe slightly ahead once he gets his bottle and gets his nukes up. And the top lane, Gyro versus Magnus. Gyro actually has the advantage due to his range, his flash cannon harass. As you see here, if he's CSing here, you know, your Meg has to stay way far back where he's gonna get harassed and hit with the flash cannon. But however, in our lane, the tri-lane versus tri-lane, we're actually a bit weaker. And you know, this is bound to happen. You can't win all your lanes. If you're winning all your lanes, the other team probably made a mistake in their pick and bans. So with the lifestealer in their lane, they have an advantage despite us getting the first blood. And what you want to do then is make sure that your supports carry a dust. So you have Sentry Dust, one support, Ward and Courier on the other. Smoke, sorry. And that way you can smoke up, you know, come and gank, and with the Sentry to de-ward as well as counter any sort of invis gimmick such as this TA is trying to pull here, you're able to pick up kills very easy. So you know, they have this warded. They were pulling their supports, and our supports, recognizing the pull right away, went back here knowing that they wouldn't have an offensive ward here, smoked up, you know, turned around. I think on the minimap, if you guys watch me draw, something like this, you know, went behind the river and just took him out. So Kai, you know, do you have anything to say about that play that we made right here? Did you think our tri lane was actually a little bit weaker? Like, we did have killing potential as well, but with the sleep, with the open wound and the rage, it just felt like it's harder for us to go on them. Although Juggernaut also has magic immunity, it's probably unlikely that they will be able to kill the Juggernaut. It was very unlikely that we were going to be able to kill their Lifestealer, and with the supports, it felt like we were a lot more vulnerable towards them killing us than they were vulnerable from us offensively.
Well, I felt like this tri-lane versus tri-lane, it could go either way. They have a lot of good initiation with the sleep into the LSA and the rage negs with the open wound, but we also have good defensive abilities. Like, if anyone were to get slept, then we had a disruption, or we had a lift onto a secondary target who would normally follow up. So it wasn't really likely that like anyone was gonna die in the tri-lane versus tri-lane unless someone really got caught out of position.
That's true. And if you look at the CS, pretty even. 18-6 from me, 16-2 from the Lifestealer. We're both missing quite a lot because, although it's unlikely that we will be killed or kill, it's also very, threatening. Just, to put it lightly, it's very threatening that the supports may come and do a lot of damages where you have to play more passively than you would like to. So both of us are playing carefully, and I think in this case, if you look at the roam, if you guys didn't roam, you guys would have probably, a lot more of a deficit in terms of gold and experience, where because you guys started roaming, their pulls are not actually making up for the kills on the TA mid, and we're winning in terms of both XP and gold right now.
Yeah, because you're able to get the solo experience. They didn't really zone you out when they...
Yeah, and it's also hard. I mean, they did nuke me down a lot, but I just went back to my tower, popped up that healing ward. Level 1 is 2% already, and with the natural regeneration, you're healing more than half health. And also, it's very hard for them to kill you because of the Blade Fury. Their, open wound's a very good skill to hold the hero there and to do that stable DPS. But with Blade Fury, you just spin that off and leave. And if you guys are wondering, you actually see Juggernaut a lot in the pro scene now, where he is solo long lane, simply because he's hard to kill and he's very sustainable in the lane with that healing word ability. If you guys look, what you guys want to do in the stalemate is sometimes like this. Their whole team is smoked up and they're looking for those pickoffs on a carry like this. Gyro. He dodges the meld hit with his Manta, but still, even with the disruption, he's gonna get picked off. But not before dealing massive amounts of damage, picking up the TA. Then he immediately spies back, comes in. Now it's a fight for superiority. Who can survive? Immediately, Rubik steals his Fiend's Grip, then grips him. And then next, unfortunately, picks me off with the Lina full blast. So Lifestealer toggling his armlet, still surviving. Dies the Gyro that comes back with the buyback. So we end up wiping them. They ended up killing our Gyro, killing our Juggernaut. But because of the Gyro's buyback, he's essentially able to, create space, kill off the Lifestealer, and now take the Roshan. So Kai, these kind of gambles, usually it's a gamble, right? When you're smoking up, but for them, they're paying off, right? They got to pick off our Gyro right away. But what the team wants to do in this kind of situation is to have a really fast response, and once you get picked off, you're going in all in, or you're gonna basically eat your disadvantage. Like here you see, I'm walking off, we see these supports roaming in, but as soon as the engagement happens, Rubik walks back, Juggernaut Facebook, runs back, and then you're looking for these opportunities to, make a comeback. And as you see, Gyro buys back right away, TP's here, rushes in, Quap pops the regen room, blinks, coming in, trying to make a goal. Because if you don't buy back, you basically just lost your carry. And if they smoke up and they realize you don't buy back and your heroes don't rush back right away, they pick off your carry and they're out of there. They take that win and they're out of there. And then later they smoke again and they do it again. you really have to punish them to make sure that you keep the small bit of advantage that you have. As we see before the big height, there was maybe a 2,000 gold advantage. When the gyro dies, there's a huge spike back, and then, you know, with this huge win, 5,000 gold difference going the way of our team. Kai, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I figure like since they smoked into our jungle, or our ancients rather, like we pretty much have the advantage with buybacks and TP supports. Like if we gotta pick off on them, they can't really buy back and join the fight readily, like our gyro did. And since it's also basically a fight for Roche, we traded our 2 cores, which is a bit unfortunate, but we also got a team wipe on them and a Roche out of it, so at the end of the day it was definitely a better trade for us.
I think so, and I think it's very important for players to make those split-second decisions. Like, you have to know that when your carry is getting picked off as the support, you have to rush in. Even if you have to sacrifice your life, you're thinking, oh gee, their whole team's there, I might die. It doesn't matter. You have to save your core heroes. You know, in the laning phase, you already sacrificed anything. In these late game situations, it's even more crucial for you to say, you know, trade your life for your carries. I see a lot of support players during mid to late game backing off unnecessarily. Oh, as then I talk, we see again Gyro fighting in the jungle. There's all of them, and you know, their support's doing the right thing. As the life stealers taking in damage, you know, they're coming in trading their life to other supports despite dying. And here, as you see, Gyro with the the Aegis of Immortality, able to come back right away, cast the full duration of the Flask Cannon, and just absolutely desecrate the other team. And this advantage getting bigger and bigger for the dire side. Kai, you know, maybe you could add on something to I'm saying almost. Like, I'm saying that during the times when you find yourself in an unfavorable situation, you almost want to gamble. Like, when you know your carry Gyro just got picked off, you want to gamble that and with the buyback, because if you don't, then you're basically taking the loss.
Right. Well, the Gyro was almost forced to buy back in that situation because we needed to contest Roche as well.
That's true.
With a TA, like, and a Mag.
That's true. If you didn't gamble it, that small loss could have just escalated and snowballed very hard into even a worse situation. Here's something you want to look out for when you're playing the carry or semi-carry. I used to do this a lot when I first started playing the carry role. Basically, late game comes, you're thinking, hey, I'm tanky, I got a rage, I can escape anytime, I can infest in a creep, mess with you guys, you know, create space for our TA to farm, and you guys can't do anything to me. But little did he know, picked up the Abyssal Blade, and as soon as he saw that, or maybe it was just luck, he infested, and he decided, hey, I'll rage TP. But at this moment, because I had the Abyssal Blade, was able to pick him off, and a pick off at this rate, at this point of the game, 50 minutes in, is huge. Although he has buyback, that's gonna set back his net worth by a lot. As you see right now, his net worth is similar to that of Queen of Pains. With a buyback, with a death right now, it's setting him back by maybe 2,000 gold. And you never want to do this kind of trades. It's actually very game breaking. Instead, when late game comes, you know, if you don't have vision of the enemy heroes, if I go back for you guys to see, he has absolutely no vision before we picked him off. Before we rotated to top, after we cleared this wave, we right away 5-man rotation top. At this point, you know, seeing that your creep wave is gone, he should have backed off. And instead of backing off, seeing me pop up, it was too late. He thought, hey, this might have been dangerous, and that's why he ran into the trees, but already too late. Kai, what do you think? You know, do you have any advice for the carry players out there watching this? Do you have any sort of things that you've learned from experience? I mean, this was a huge thing for me as a carry player, knowing when to back off, knowing when to actually come out of the, you know, out of the lane and continue my split push. I think it's one of the biggest transitions from, you know, team matchmaking between captain's mode and just pub APs, where players aren't as coordinated.
Right, you should always be aware of like who's missing and which heroes on the other team could potentially lock you down and like say just hold you down for like their backup to arrive and like kill you. So yeah, the next didn't really pay attention, and then he was forced to infest a creep, which is alright because if you look at the dire team lineup, there's nothing really they could do. Like the next should have just played it patient and maybe waited for the other heroes to leave or whatever, since we were pretty much just camping that creep, but we had no way of like getting him out of the creep. Like he could have even stalled and wait for his team to kind of come and like maybe start the team fight like that, whereas he jumped out and like thought he could rage TP when there was no way 100% chance.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I feel like you know, why Bat Rider is a first pick hero is because of his ability to, from early game, from maybe 10 minutes in to the end of the game, to catch off an enemy carry. You know, no matter if you have magic immunity or not, he could jump in, flaming lasso you, then force staff you into the rest of the team for a pick off. Anytime you see him missing, you have to back off, and that really limits you as the carry, your ability to farm and ability to split push. And here, you know, we don't really have that hero. As you see, our Rubik has been forced to go Scepter because of TA's burst physical damages, and he doesn't have the blink dagger. But otherwise, you know, you can blink lift and then throw him back into your enemy. Also very powerful initiation, but the lifestealer right here was just way out of position, way out of line, and ended up getting picked off. This is the end fight of the game. As you guys see, the gold graph difference and the XP difference, we're not pulling ahead. We've been stagnated for around, you know, 10 minutes now, 15 minutes on a graph, just because we're unable to go high ground. And at this point, with the Aegis of Immortal, we thought, hey, pick up a Divine Rapier on the gyro. And TA, I believe, sees this right away, blinks in the side shop, picks up a Rapier of her own. And at this point, I'm gonna slow it down for you guys. It was pretty neat fight in my opinion. So the gyro comes in, attacks the Rax, takes it down super fast. The TA with the Rapier comes in now. And then the Bane sees where I am, decides to go on me. However, I start to spin, and he makes a mistake of not fiend gripping me anyways. And at that point, you know, I get away. The TA jumps in, is totally out of position, gets called down. Then at this point, we knew the Magnus would be here, so I Omni slash the Lifestealer. Luckily, pops on the Magnus. Magnus as well getting hit with the Flask Cannon. And then here with the Abyssal Blade taking off the Magnus, the TA dies. We don't even pop the Aegis of Immortal. With the Satanic on the gyro, heals up back to full HP and very candidly takes the game. So Kai, you know, what did you think of that last engagement? It basically went perfect for us. I think, you know, back at the very crucial point, if the Bane decided to actually grab me while I was spinning, I think that could have made the difference.
Well, yeah, I think like at this point, both teams knew that like pretty much it only takes one team wipe to lose the game. So you see both teams picking up a Rapier for themselves. But like even if the Bane gripped you, I had my Disruption on cooldown the whole time, pretty much ready for that.
If
like,
you, yeah, like if you guys look at this free screen right now, I believe he had the ability to grip me right now within the while I'm still spinning. And then at this point, if the TA jumped in here, I believe in 5 seconds with a Rapier and a Deso and an MKB, I'm a goner, right? Like he's gonna be able to burst me off. And the Blink Dagger has 2 seconds CD right now, so he could wait for that 2 seconds, and if the gyro say did go on the PA, then he comes in with the huge RP. But instead, you see, you know, the Bane actually walks with me. You know, it looked like he was gonna cast it, but he doesn't. The TA says probably go. See, the 2-man splash goes for it. 2 hits. I'm down a third of my health. But the Queen of Pain comes in with the damn Scythe of Ice. And at this point, you know, the Magnus still has 1 second on his Blink Dagger. And this is now cooldown. He should have gone for the big 4-man RP right here. But me knowing that was gonna happen jumped in, he had maybe half a second before his blink dagger was cancelled. And once this was cancelled, once this flash cannon with the rapier was gonna come in, 500 damage a hit, it was over. So all this happens way fast. This is why Dota is this exciting game. You know, you're building up 55 minutes just for this 10 seconds at the end of the game. And as you guys saw with that Satanic, bam, 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 his health is back. So yeah, Kai, you know, it happened really fast. I think you're right, even though you were there, but there's no way you can disrupt me while I'm spinning. It was actually a really good time for them to go. I think that would have probably made all the difference.
Does it not cancel your spin?
I don't think it cancels my spin.
Okay.
So, you know.
That's true.
I don't know. I think they hesitated. They hesitated on the RP, and they hesitated on the Fiend's Grip, where, you know, I'm trigger finger happy, and I just popped my Omni Slash. Luckily, I got that bounce on top of the Magnus, and we were able to take it off. And I think for them especially, because we did have the Aegis of Immortal, that they had to be more aggressive, you know? Because even if we made the mistake, you know, even if the gyro is out of position, gets caught with the RP, then he still comes back full HP with a Satanic.
Right. Yeah, I think the Mag kind of misplayed that last team fight. Like, at the start of the team fight, he was standing on the left side of their tier 3, and then my Shadow Poison canceled his blink, so he rotated to the other side.
Yep, I saw that.
He got flat cannoned, and then you slashed him once. At that point, he should have realized that he couldn't blink and just skewered in for the RP instead of try to get the blink.
That's true.
Because their team desperately needed an RP.
That's true. If you got the RP off, that would have made a difference, because the TA would have still had her Aegis, the Rapier, and within 4 seconds, if she gets the right kind of splash position, she could have killed our whole team. And, you know, Gyro with the Aegis comes back, sure, but they wouldn't have gotten wiped. And who knows, maybe they, with Lina, with BKB, well, without BKB, the Gyro didn't have a BKB, that they could have been, you know, switching around their different disables and be able to pick off the Gyro and turning the game the other way around. 2 Rapiers on a TA, that's no joke. One-shotting any support.
Another thing to note is, I find that Lina's item choice is rather poor. Since you're playing as like the 4 or 5 position, you should not just rush an Aghanims as your first item. You need like maybe a Ghost Scepter for like the high physical damage that we have, or even a Force Staff for positional play instead of going for an Aghanims. Where the stats, by the time you get it, is like negligible. Our carries are too strong.
That's true, and I think, you know, Ghost Scepter and Force Staff, both of them counters my ultimate. If you guys know, you know, once I jump, if you press Force Staff and there's no other unit in my search area, my ultimate stops. And if he had a Force Staff, he could have Force Staffed the Magnus in when his Blink Dagger got cancelled, you know, or if he had a Ghost Scepter, he could have stayed in the fight and cast his stun on the Gyrocopter instead of dying to 2-shot of the Divine Rapier Flat Cannon. With the Agnum Scepter, sure, it gives you 400 HP extra bonus, but what's that? That's 1 Flash Cannon hit from the Rapier Gyro. So, you know, I hope this replay analysis was thorough for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed this game. It was very close the whole way through. I think up to 30-minute point to the 50-minute point, it was just stagnant. You know, it stayed there. It didn't move forward. We did get ourselves a bit of a lead, and even at the 50-minute, we had the Aegis, an extra sense of security. But at that point, you know, these ghost graphs are kind of misleading at times. Although you do have more gold, sometimes lineups, due to hero mechanics, due to the amount of attributes you gain, you don't need a gold advantage to fight. And here showing that we were 20 minutes stagnating around the same gold, it just means with their current items, with their current lineups, they're able to fight. They're able to put up a really good fight and win a team fight, if not, you know, dominate us in a team fight. There's a reason why it's stagnating. Usually you see the graph always moving. When you reach an equilibrium like this, it just means with the lineups you have, with the farm you have, you guys are actually on even grounds. Do you think that's true, Kai?
Yeah, I think in most cases
Because it's not like StarCraft, you know. It's not like other RTS games where it's like if you have 200 food army, it's definitely greater than 150 food. Heck, even with StarCraft, when you're maxed as a Zerg and versus say a Protoss, 200 food Protoss always wins with against 200 Zerg, right? You have to lose your army and then you have to remax in order to fight.
Yeah, I guess the same logic can be applied to both games.
It's similar logic, right? You're basically ahead in gold, but because of the different heroes, you're able to actually fight on even ground. You have similar fighting power almost. If you're Dragon Ball Z characters, you know, your scouters will read the same fighting levels. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed it. See you guys next week with the replay analysis. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. See you guys next week.